My name is Willetta Wilson, Secretary of the Trinidad and Tobago Scrap Iron Dealers Association. Today at our headquarters, we have our President, Mr. Alan Ferguson, Mr. Timothy Bailey, and Mr. David Mohammed. Let's welcome our first speaker. Now, this man is no stranger to us here at TTSIDA, and he has had first-hand knowledge of the struggles that we currently endure. President of the Steelworkers Union, Mr. Timothy Bailey.
Good morning. I bring greetings this morning on behalf of the Joint Trade Union Movement, the Steelworkers Union of Trinidad and Tobago, and by a wider extension, the Trade Union Movement of Trinidad and Tobago. Our current situation as a country is one that is unfortunate, as we have seen in the last couple of weeks that an industry has been closed. The trade union movement position remains the same. We are in full support of the Scrap Dealers Association of Trinidad and Tobago, and we would like that the government would revisit its decision. We would like that the government would revisit its decision to basically close this important industry for 6 months. The reality is that while this industry is closed, a lot of young black people, Trinidad and Tobago citizens, are left on the breadline without any source of employment. We are also appalled today by what appears to be a statement coming from the office of the Honorable Prime Minister, where he has associated the leader of the Joint Trade Union Movement, the leader of OWTU, Comrade Ansel Roger, as being involved in action taken this morning. Our position is very clear. We condemn those allegations made. What we have seen this morning was an emotional and reactive response by individuals who are hurting. We understand it as trade union leaders, and we would ask that the Honorable Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago take a responsible position, not one that is emotional, not one that is reckless, not one that is reactive, and not one that is irresponsible by basically including and tarnishing the name of the leader of the Joint Trade Union Movement of Trinidad and Tobago and the Trade Union Movement. The Trade Union Movement position on this situation is clear. The Trade Union Movement position is that at the end of the day, because of the unfortunate decision by a few in a very large industry, which include theft, as you would have said, we believe that this should not have been escalated to the closure of an entire industry, as the majority of the individuals that operate in this industry are honest, hard-working citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. And we condemn the action, and we call on the Prime Minister at this time to give the country, as we approach our 60th independence, mature leadership. Reckless allegations like what has been spewed via your page or your post, if it is in fact a genuine post, please refrain from doing that. As a young trade unionist, we look forward to individuals like yourself to basically lead our country in the right manner. At this point in time, we understand the fact that citizens are hurting. We understand that as a leader, you may have been disgusted by the action this morning, but it goes back to the point that we have been making. We cannot broad brush everyone for the actions of a few. Just like how the industry should not have been closed due to the actions of a few, your statement cannot be a statement that captures the whole trade union movement or the whole scrap iron industry leadership. And we are asking you to revisit that statement in a mature manner and let us as responsible leaders, whether it be trade union leaders, politicians, whoever in Trinidad and Tobago, activists, let us try to find a suitable solution to the situation so that individuals could be returned to their livelihoods. And at the end of the day, we can address the issue of theft. On behalf of the trade union movement, on behalf of Steelworkers Union of Trinidad and Tobago, again, I want to thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bailey. For our next speaker, I have the pleasure of introducing the well-known social activist. He's the Eastern Caribbean representative of the Nation of Islam and director of the Black Agenda Project, the esteemed author, Mr. David Muhammad.
Thank you. I am here standing in solidarity with the Scrap Iron Dealers Association, with all of the workers, all of those who have invested, those who are affected by any decision that would make life more difficult for them economically. And I'm here standing in solidarity with poor people in general. I believe that the government must find a better way to deal with this issue without taking a decision that is so harsh that it would contribute even further to some of the social problems that we're already experiencing and encountering. We must find a way that creates less aggravation among the public, in particular, again, the poor. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, whom I represent, had said that within our communities, we must open skills banks, think tanks, come together, unite, pool our resources, settle our differences, and invest in each other's interests. We must be independent, not just as a country, but we cannot be stable as an independent republic if some of the citizens are more independent than others. We cannot have a stable society if you still have a huge division between the rich and the poor, and then capitalist systems in place that make the rich get even richer while the poor become even more frustrated. And decisions such as that which was taken in regards to the scrap iron industry is one that we believe directly creates much more problems than it solves. And in particular, I want to draw reference to a matter that we had highlighted a few weeks ago. Because if a decision is being taken to close down a particular industry because of theft in particular, but crime in general, there are various other industries in this country that are much more problematic, that we have much more accurate, direct information on, that are left completely untouched. This raises many questions in regards to how and if ever there would be decisions made in the best interest of the entire country as it comes to this. And I'm speaking about the drug trade in Trinidad and Tobago. And my position is, our position as the Black Agenda Project organization is that rather than shutting down the scrap iron industry for 6 months, to shut down those businesses that have been not under speculation, not under suspicion, nor under investigation, but those businesses that have been confirmed as being drug traffickers, human traffickers, and prostitution rings fronting under legitimate business persons and interests. I make reference to an August 3rd, 2019 Guardian newspaper report, which features a leaked police report. Now, this is information that is already in the hands of the police. I want to emphasize, it's not assumption. It's not based on suspicion. It is fact, based on the information that the police have had. And I ask that you allow me to share just a short bit of it. This report is entitled Police Intelligence, and it names, in their terms, Big Fish. And they reveal details from another leaked report, which stated that close to 40 prominent businessmen from South Central and East Trinidad are linked to major drug and human traffickers, gun runners, gang leaders, and murderers. Murder is our number one problem right now. The highest murder rate ever in this country was 2008 with 550 murders. And the second and third highest years were just the other day. Here, if the current arithmetical projection continues, we will get to around 600. So murder is the bigger problem as opposed to scrap iron. Now, this report states that these businessmen are being protected by some senior members of the protective services and are among 100 people of interest identified in this confidential 2019 police intelligence report. It says that they identify persons of interest who were allegedly involved in criminal activity using the guise of legitimate businesses, and they have formed symbiotic relationships with some politicians, with members of the underworld, and with other criminal empires. And just to give some short details on some of them, they clearly identify one man who owns $1 million business as an involved in supermarkets and nightclubs. He is the leader of an elaborate prostitution and human smuggling ring and involved in money laundering. They have his name and his address. Another businessman who owns a supermarket and restaurant uses these businesses as a legitimate front to facilitate human trafficking and prostitution of Asian nationals, according to the police report. They have his name, they have his address. Another businessman who is the owner of a hotel and several bars has been described as a major player in an elaborate prostitution and human smuggling ring in South Trinidad. Sources say he is very well connected and also has law enforcement personnel in his pockets, according to the police. And they have his name and his address, and they have the details on all of the businesses. Finally, just one more, because they have 40 examples here. A man described as a kingpin involved in drug trafficking and arms and people trafficking from Venezuela. Investigators believe some of his illicit gains have been used to purchase several other businesses. Senior sources familiar with the underworld figure said he was well connected and resourceful and had police officers at his beck and call. Again, they have his name and have his address. All of these 40 prominent businessmen that are detailed and identified in this police report, to the best of our knowledge, are still in operation. Their businesses are still functioning. They are still conducting day-to-day transactions with the public as legitimate businesses. I'm simply saying that if the state, be it through the government or the Ministry of National Security or the police, have actual information on real people who are confirmed to be drug traffickers, gun runners, human prostitution, trafficking rings, it is better to shut them down for 6 months as opposed to innocent, poor, hardworking black people who are already suffering under a damaged economy that is married to a policy that seems to favor those who are already rich enough. And I'm simply saying with humility, we are not helping this country on the doorstep of our 60th anniversary of independence to create an even wider gulf between the rich and the poor. And I say finally, I think it would benefit all of us if when we analyze these social issues and these realities in our society, if we do so without first considering, is it for the government? Is it against the government? Is it for the trade union movement? Is it against the trade union movement? Will it make my party look good or will it make my party look bad? And all of those ulterior motives and what is called sycophancy within our society, where we first filter, edit, evaluate, and assess our own personal opinions and then refrain from speaking the truth if it hurts the politicians that we like. Nothing is destroying this country more ideologically than that spirit. And so on the heels of our 60th anniversary, which we all celebrate together, We're asking the state to think again about the potential consequences of these kinds of rash decisions that do nothing but hurt more poor people. I thank you for the opportunity to share these thoughts.
Thank you for the enlightenment, Mr. Mohammed. Last but definitely not least, we have our president, Mr. Alan Ferguson. He will make his contribution.
Go ahead, Gary.
First, they came for the communists, and I did not speak out because I was not a communist. Then they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak out for me.
Good morning to Trinidad and Tobago. First, I want to thank the media for coming and who is listening on our page and all the people who listen to us and keep listening to us all the time. I want to thank you. I want to thank my two guests here this morning because as I mentioned, our whole mission in this struggle is not about ourselves alone. I know is that some people have issues with people who look like myself and sound like myself. But I just want, before I could start off, what I would like you to have a good idea is that if I am your mother or I am your father, and you have a mother too, and the two of them will leave and go to America for 6 months, and they have 6 children, and they leave them children is about 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7, and I will tell them children and them, do not eat nothing or nothing for you, whatever it is, you stay so until we come back. If you're everybody who agreeing with the Prime Minister or the government to let us stay for that position for 6 months, if you will agree with it. The whole thing about it is that we in this industry, some of us depend on this industry daily, meaning that every day they look for 3 or 4 or 600 to take care of the family. And they don't have the saving as some of us. They don't have the saving and they don't have the no way to get things in another way than how they get it in the scrap iron industry. I keep on mentioning this is the only industry remain that poor people could get something. And when you mention that we in this industry could go to public assistance and get public assistance, all of that is just public. They're just trying to make excuse for shutting down this industry. And only bring in Nancy for me, please. Bring she in. Because I want, before I could start my conversation, because it has a lot of Trinidadians, because you on a different side, you seem to want to agree with what the government do, because you don't understand. And if it's your brother, if it's your sister in this industry, if you would be singing the way you sung, all right? And I want Trinidad and Tobago to listen to this, because this is what's taking place in this industry. A lot of publication, a lot of public, you're sending a lot of message that people will feel that you're doing something to help us. And you're not doing nothing to help us. You're doing things to destroy this industry and then destroy all of my members. That is what you're doing. Nancy, go ahead.
Hi, today. My name is Nancy Pierre. And
On?
Hi, my name is Nancy Pierre. And I've been in the scrap iron industry for the past 10 years now. And I have a van. My husband and I do scrap. I'm the driver, he's the loader. And I depend on this industry for money, for my income. This is what I do, this is our job. And since they banned the scrap iron, there's no means of any income coming in. I cannot pay my mortgage. I also have a mortgage. I had a problem with the bank a couple of years back, and I took them to court. I got back my property, but we also made an agreement with them that if I miss 2 months' payment on the mortgage, they will not take me to court anymore, and I'll be out of my property. Now, this was the only means of my income in paying my loan, my mortgage. And I cannot do that right now. I cannot pay any other bill. I have no means of groceries or anything like that. So, right now, last week, I was scrolling through on the YouTube. And I said, let me see if the government put anything in place for us. So when I went on YouTube, I saw that it had the Ministry of Social Development. They had their phone number, and they said if any family need that, to call that number. So I called that number, and a lady answered on the next line. So I told her I was from the scrap iron. I deal with scrap iron. And since the ban the scrap iron right now, I have no means of income. So she told me, well, here what? Take your ID card, what area you are from. I said, I am from Conapia. She said, okay, well, then you need to go to the sugar owners social welfare. I said, okay. She said, take your ID card and go down there and you will get a grant. I said, well, okay, that sounds easy. So I did that, but I also went with my papers stating from the court that concerned my mortgage as well. So I said, just in case, I'll just walk with it. So I went down there, and when I went, I told them, hey, I'm Nancy Pierre, I'm from the scrap iron industry. I deal with scrap, and since it closed down, I need, they told me that I will get a grant. So I called the head office, and they told me to come here. So they said, who said that? I said, from the social development I called this morning. They said, no, we have nothing here concerning that, and we knows nothing about any grant for any scrap iron people. I said, okay. I said, so what am I supposed to do now? She said, well, if you want, you can go through a normal procedure, and we know that take a couple months, but I need money right now. I can't wait a couple months because every day I used to sell and make a little money, a little income for the day. And now I can't afford to do that. And what about my mortgage? I have 2 months. So I show them the paper that I have 2 months. If I miss 2 months, I'll be out of my property. They say, well, they cannot do anything about that. But if I still want, I could go through. So I leave the papers. I didn't bother to do anything because it's not a long-term thing. It's just for until 6 months, as the Prime Minister said. And I just leave the papers right there. I had no idea what to do from that. So I just leave and I walked out. That was it.
Okay, Nancy. Thank you. Thank you. You know, this is something that I need to address because it's going around that you're going to help scrap dealers. You're going to help scrap dealers. And it's totally false. Totally false. The Prime Minister issue I'm going to let the Prime Minister know. This is a person that I respect. The Prime Minister, he really is a person I really respect. And Mr. Prime Minister, if you didn't know, you will know now. I, as one person, love this country. I represent this country, if you didn't know. I represent this country all over in the Caribbean and other places. I fight for this country, if you didn't know that. All right? I was one of the national of Trinidad and Tobago in the area of boxing. I fight. I was also the manager of this country national team. I was also the chairman of the whole Caribbean where boxing is concerned to put up the amateur championship. I was the chairman also too, if you didn't know, Mr. Prime Minister. Mr. Prime Minister, I have a mind of my own. I have a mind of my own. No trade union movement, so no UNC or nobody cannot tell me how to conduct my business. Nobody cannot tell me unless they're leading me right and they're giving me good information. I will not sit down with nobody to shut down this country. Meaning that how y'all think that we will use whatever we need. I don't have that. If the trade union have the grudge against you, that's them. Our thing is about the poor people, the workers. That's our thing. I am not a no other thing but to try to get back our industry and to help poor people and to help workers. That is my thing. I am not a no foolishness, Mr. Prime Minister. I respect you, and I also will tell you too, I also respect Stuart Young. I have all the respect for him. But the way how this is going, I don't want to lose our respect. I ain't lose it yet. I don't want to lose our respect. Because let me tell you something. Before I go into it, I want to make it clear with the police. You see, we not about to fight no war with you. When you see I organize anything, I organize it for to be a peaceful motorcade. When I organize anything, it has to be peaceful. I don't have no evilness in my mind like other people. I have an industry to fight for. And if you think you're going to be pushing my head in a barrel and I must leave my head, forget it. Forget that. I have to fight for this industry. And I don't care that if you intend to kill me because I'm fighting for my industry. I don't care. But I will stand up for this industry because I make myself available for this industry. And you all will want to tell me now that I have to allow my head to remain in the barrel for you all to drown me. Or you forget that also. The police, we is fighting for you also too. Because let me tell you something. You see that 4% that all you get? We also going to be fighting for that. Because we care for all you. Because yours is our brothers. Yours is our family that is in the police force. I have friends in the police force. So we and y'all is nothing. We also is fighting for y'all. Just as we will be fighting for the nurses. Just as we will be fighting for the WASA workers, TSTT workers. We will be fighting for y'all in this struggle. This struggle is not the scrap industry alone. This struggle is for poor people. This struggle is for people in Lavantil. This struggle is for people in Beetham. This struggle is for people in Claxon Bay. All the men and women who work in this industry, this struggle is for them. This struggle is for people in also enterprise. This struggle is for us. And that is why I'm making a call for people who don't understand what we are about. Come and join with us. Come and join with us in this struggle. Just as each and everybody, every time you see new people coming in, join with us. Because this is an attack on poor people. And they wanted to make it look like we as criminals. But the same criminals that you saying there is, that means the same criminals that vote for y'all. These are the same people in your areas that vote for y'all. Every time it's an election. So what you will do when election come about now? Go and tell them, hey, I don't want no criminal voting for me. Y'all doesn't say that. So I am saying to Trinidad and Tobago, take a look with your eyes and listen with your ears. Because this what taking place is because you feel that because this is your party, you have to make all these bad statements about us. Let me tell you something, Trinidad and Tobago. We is with you together fighting to make this country better. We will be fighting to make this country better. If a trade union fighting for the members because of how they're getting paid and how all kind of things taking place, you against that. You against people fighting for their own rights. Be real. Just as we fighting for our industry. Because you have to understand why is we not supporting people burning up and doing all kind of things. We understand them position. You all have food to feed the family. You all could go and get a train, books, so the amount of them have to take the train to school for this new term. All of this is we have to take in consideration that this industry, the government have put a dent in this industry. And we need to work with the people who get effective in this industry. We as the association doing everything in our power. But what else we could do? We could go and tell these fellas and them who blocking road, listen to me, the government going and talk to us tomorrow, so all the hold up. We ain't even know when they're going to talk to us. First they're disrespectful. We don't even know when they're going to talk to us. First they're disrespectful. If it was a different type of people, you see how fast they run to talk to them. Because it's because it's we, Indian and African, the black people, Indian and African will make up black people. That is why they treat us like that. But I say enough is enough. And that is why before I move any further, before I forget, and I know this is important. You see, this Friday, the association is putting on a motorcade. We will be starting by the bird sanctuary at 10 o'clock in the morning. And we will be going up the highway until we reach Grand Bazaar. And when we reach Grand Bazaar, we will make a right. That right will take us up to the central accident, and we come into the road by central accident. And then we will make a left to head down to Tunapuna. And from Tunapuna, we will go to Crep. And from Crep, we will go to Sawa. From Sawa, we will head straight to Port of Spain. Let them stop that. Because I'll tell you something. We is fighting for our rights. My intention is not to do nothing evil. And that is why I'm asking a lot of people to join with us. Not to do no evil. I'm telling people, join with us to do the right thing. And that is why in my statements I always say, please let us do what we're doing in a peaceful way. I also call on people not to even drink. Because when you get drunk, you seem to want to do things that you ain't supposed to do. So I call on people to stay away from that. And I will also call on the truck, carrying the sound system, to stay away from playing music, because this is not about a party. This is about people hungry, people starving. This is about people who lost their house, the vehicles, the truck. These are people who lost their businesses, because people cannot wait 6 months to able to struggle with a business that they can't even catch in the little tail every month to pay the bills. And you will tell them you have to wait till 6 months to able to get over this. I am saying, Trinidad and Tobago, join with us, because it's not you think that you're going to care about them, because them is criminal, and you abandon us as criminal. But the same criminal is who coming in your grocery to buy. The same criminal is who coming in your store to buy. The same criminal is who might help you when you get some, God forbid, you get an accident. The same criminal might have to pull you out of the car. So Trinidad and Tobago, the more we go together, we must stay together. This is a time that we must come together. Not to come together to, as I say, to do evil. Not to cause problem in this country. Because causing problem in this country will not help our situation. Having doing problems will not cause us to get back our industry. So you all need to understand that. I ain't just a man just come out just so, you know. I have understand the society. I understand what we have to do as a human being. So that is why I'm saying, join with us this Friday. Join with us. And I'm also asking the government, please, for Trinidad and Tobago's sake, because there's people in this industry just don't care too, you know. You see, that's how all in can all shut down the industry. It have people who in this industry don't care. And if you take it away, my control, and you take it that it to be scattered, I don't have control of everybody again. I only have control of certain people. I don't have control of mad people. So I am saying, please help us by opening back up this industry and it will be able to stop all this claim that you're talking about criminal and you're talking about criminal. I know no criminal, eh? I'm not no criminal and I'm in this industry. Well, they never locked me up for no criminal activities. Well, I could check. None at all. Well, they never locked me up for no criminal activities. I never make no jail. I represent Trinidad. I was in sports. I represent the Caribbean also. So I'm not in that foolishness, so don't label all of us as criminal. Right? Because I could tell you, you know, I could start to tell you a thing because I hear things too, you know, I could tell you a thing. But I'm not that kind of man because I will sound like a politician. And I'm not a politician. I'm being an honest man trying to make it better for my industry and for poor people. And that is why I'm saying, please, Trinidad and Tobago, this is not a time to hate us because we fighting for what we have to fight for the right thing. No. And before I wrap up, I want you all to understand. I want Trinidad and Tobago to understand. You see the police is not our enemy. Eh? The police is not our enemy. It's sometimes the people who tell the police to do what they have to do. It has some of them just act like they is our enemy. But them is our brothers. Some of them is our sisters. Some of them is our family and our friend. So we need to treat them more better and have a good understanding of them. So I understand it, and I understand that the pressure they have with all the crime and all the robberies and all the invasion in people's house and all the theft with cars and all type of things in society going through. And what you find is best for this country now is because we advise you what we could do to stop the problem in the industry. You didn't take our advice. You take other people's advice. And there's something I want to say too. You see these fellas, these businesses, we still had a yard open. And you see they want to put more problems for this industry. Because y'all who open your industry still and oppressing one people by giving them underprices is the same set of people that caused and how we were yesterday. And them still are there open because the pocket deep. And you all know, still are all the yard open. And you know why all the yard open? It's because how the government do it. It didn't do for people who small and who could have respect for what's going on. It's people who don't have no respect for this industry. And let me tell you something, eh? All you continue to do that, and let me tell you something. If thieving continue and people start to steal, I will organize a rally straight to all your yard. Because I'm telling all you, stop it. Stop it. It's all you who have, we will be here today, and all you still open. Some of you, not all of them who open still, eh? But I'm trying to tell you, some of them. Because there's people who open that it wasn't involved in nothing. But it have people who open still. They was the people who have we years now. And the government ain't doing nothing about them. Because they say they're paying them. Because they feel they're paying them. The government ain't doing nothing about them. And them is the people who have we yesterday. We have to be struggling for them. And they don't care about the industry. Because they have a little money. They don't care what happened. Because they feel that in the final result, they will survive. And them have years, and we have to be fighting for them, and them don't care what's going on. So I telling all you see me, after this rally on Monday, and if all you continue this week to open up all your yard and oppress band men, because the price is not what you giving them, the price is more. All you oppressing band people. I will have to do something about it. I will have to make a decision. All right? So I want to thank Trinidad and Tobago for listening to me. I know I have a lot to say, but I don't want to bother you because you see me, I just be vexed with you sometimes when I speak in based on some things that is taking place. Any question from the media, I'm willing to take it, and any question Mr. Bailey has to answer, I have no problem. Yes, Bushel.
All right, so as you said, the floor is open for members of the media. Any questions that you may have? Mr. Richard Khan, you can unmute your mic.
Yeah, morning. You all hear me?
Yes, we are.
Yes, we
Okay, hi, morning. Rashad Khan, Guardian Media Limited. Okay, so Mr. Ferguson, you would have basically, in your presentation there, stood up against what has been transpiring over the past few days with regards to protests and blocking the road and that kind of thing. But I mean, the fact of the matter is when these things do occur, it paints all scrap iron dealers under one light, people not making that distinction. So do you as an association plan on doing anything to combat that apart from issuing the calls for them to join you instead of taking these independent actions? And secondly, what implications do you think the Prime Minister's statement a few hours ago on the blocking of the road today has for the industry?
Well, the Prime Minister, remember he's a big man and he's the leader of this, and he make that kind of statement. And when he make that kind of statement, you see, it have people who will understand certain things. But I could remember the Prime Minister marching with the trade union movements, I remember the Prime Minister marching with the trade union movements. And if they was friends and they fall out, I could understand where it's coming from. But me, I cannot answer for everything that he said because I'm not familiar with what he's talking about. Because I'm a man of my own thinking. Nobody can influence me to do no wrong. You understand? Not at all. And in reference to them in Claxon, they doing what they're doing. I would have go there already, and it was on the media to share that I talking to them and asking them not to do this. I do that already. But the answer to me is that if you could feed us for 6 months, if you could pay my bills, that's the answer to me, And I was, no, I can't do that for all y'all. I cannot do it. I cannot do it. And I could understand them. But there's people now who want to understand them, because I could tell you, when you see a situation like this taking place any part of the world, you will see how people get on angry. You just see the way how people just get on this, because sometimes people mad of the situation. And when people mad, they do foolishness or they do anything that they think. So what I go do? I go condemn it, but I can't. I could understand the feeling. Yeah.
Any other questions?
And Mr. Bailey, if you want to clear up that thing more in reference to the union, you go ahead.
I just want to say on behalf of JTOM and the trade union movement that we had no part, as I said before, or role to play in any protest action this morning. Everything JTOM has done and the trade union movement by extension has done as it relates to bringing the information to the public at the end of the day has always been action that has been within the confines of the laws of Trinidad and Tobago. We do our applications, we participate in legal protest action. We were not part of any action taken this morning, hence the reason I asked the Prime Minister to take a responsible position and don't make these allegations, unfounded allegations, against the leader of JTOM and by extension the trade union movement, because he spoke about leadership. So I just wanted to clarify that. Comrade Ansel Rouge, as the leader of the Joint Trade Union movement, will be making a statement as it relates to those unfortunate statements by the Honorable Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago.
We have a question from someone on Facebook, Tali. He asked, or she asked, does TTSIDA have any plans of doing an online petition?
Yeah, yes, because I was being contacted with people from different countries all over the world, and this will come after. This will come after our rally, where we will find different people from different countries making the appeal to the government, and it will be all kind of different thing. Yes, we will take part in it.
All right, the floor is still open if there are any more questions.
Somebody online?
Hello?
Tell them to say that.
Hello? Okay, apparently we lost that one. If there are any more questions,
That's all. I just want to remind Trinidad and Tobago, we of the association and other civil society people and trade union movements, we will be having a motorcade, as we mentioned, and our motorcade will start at 10 o'clock this Friday coming. And we write the Commissioner of Police for permission, and we hope that good sense prevail and we will be able to go in the route that we will want to go and not the route that they will want us to go. I will, as the leader of this organization, I want all my members and everybody understand. Let us come prepared to make sure we follow the rules follow the instructions of the police to make sure that we make our rally as peaceful as we had it Wednesday. Let them see that we could able to do things peacefully without any incident. And I hope and pray that you all come, please leave home the alcohol, leave home the hate. We come in to rent our feelings in a silent and peaceful way. And that's the way we will go as the association. We will not take part in no violence way. And that is why we say the police is our friend and we is the police friend too. We're not going to be doing things that we will be breaking no law at all. Okay? So I want to thank you all, and you could wrap up.
all right, so thank you again, everyone, for being here today. Be sure to follow TTSIDA on Facebook, IG, Instagram, TikTok. So we ask you to support TTSIDA, support the hardworking men and women of the scrap iron industry, support betterment for our industry, and by extension, our beloved country. Thank you and have a great week.